Now, one of the funniest people in the world, as far as I'm concerned, is the gentleman whose face you've already seen on our screen. And we're going to get him out here in just a moment or two. He is, I guess most people think of him just as a comedian because you've heard his marvelous record albums as the 2,000-year-old man. But before he was a professional performer, he was a comedy writer. And he now is a motion picture producer, a motion picture director, a motion picture writer. And there isn't a great deal, as a matter of fact, that he isn't doing presently in our business. Let's give him a nice welcome, Mr. Mel Brooks.
Thank you, ladies and germs. Welcome to a bang-up variety show. Before I sit down and we chat,
yes,
because there's a lot of chit-chat on these shows that we're going to change.
We're going to change that?
Right.
I'll do the chit and you do the chat.
Right. Now we're going to do Man of a Thousand Faces.
Yes.
You'll start.
Man of a... Wait a minute. Man of a what?
Man of a Thousand Faces.
I'll do...
All right, you've won. You start one. One.
This is it, the easy one first.
All right, 2. All right, 3, 4, 5.
Sit down and stop this.
1,000 faces. Ladies and germs.
Mel is a little obscure tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I will endeavor to interpret for you, Mel, to the best of my ability.
Before we go on, Steve Canyon,
yes,
we have to make an announcement.
What is that?
The announcement is very simple. A great tragedy has occurred. The people of France will listen with heads bowed. The king is dead. Long live the king.
The king lives.
The king is alive?
Yes.
The king is still alive?
Yes.
Wait a half hour.
I was so intent on getting a microphone to you, I'm afraid my timing was a bit remiss.
Your timing was never good, sir. The only thing good about you was your glasses. No, I'm kidding, Steve, but I really want to tell you.
What do you see yourself as?
Short girl.
So now that you're a big motion picture...
Yes, I certainly am. I certainly am.
You're a big motion picture.
Yes.
Just sitting there all by yourself.
I'm in CinemaScope, folks. Look wide.
No, you're a writer and you're a director.
Yes, I've written and directed a new motion flick called The Producers, starring Zero Mostel and introducing Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder?
Gene Wilder had a bit part in Bonnie and Clyde. He was the undertaker that they kidnapped. And when they told him his girlfriend was 35, he made a face. He was very good.
You liked his face and hired him, huh?
Yes, I liked him immediately. He was talented, and he worked for $1.80. That's not true.
I think a lot of young people out there watching right now, Mel, might like to learn how to follow in your footsteps.
Left,
Kick
right,
that around
left,
for a minute?
Right.
So let's go through your life story. This is your life, Mel Brooks. How did you get started? You worked in the mountains, didn't you?
Well, it was dark, and then suddenly there was light. You want from birth? I mean, how far back do you want to go?
No, we only have a minute right now. Let's start from when you were 9 years old. Where were you when you were 9?
9 years old, I was in Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Doing what?
Defending my life.
Why is Williamsburg so named?
Williamsburg is so named because actually it was Canarsie. And they wanted something a little classier, something with a little post-Victorian glamour. So everybody got out in the street and they said, let's call it Williamsburg. And ever since that day, it's untrue. I made it up.
Okay.
What do I know? He asked me, why is Williamsburg? Why is Washington named Washington? I mean, it's hard.
Because, well, never mind.
That's easy.
Now, when we say in the bit, do I have to do one of those things? Since I did these late night shows, they've added 400 more commercials than they used to. However, all the shows are the same, so you're not losing anything. We'll be back in a minute or two. That's the famous plaque which commemorates the victory of Strangler Lewis over Jim Landis. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the hold that won the wrestling championship in 1937, the year Lon Warnke left the Cubs. Now, I can't get any straight answers. I can't get any straight answers out of you tonight, Mel, so I'll tell you what we're going to do.
Okay.
I'll point my finger
Not
at
in my nose.
No, we're going to show a bit of this motion picture. What's it called?
Frank Puck, have a banana, have a banana.
Here's a scene from... No, come on. What's the movie called?
The movie is called The Producers.
Right. And tell them what was the original title that you had to change.
Springtime for Hitler. That was the title, folks.
That's true.
And the exhibitors, of course, wouldn't put Hitler up on their marquee. They thought we were actually for Hitler.
Yeah, they'd like to put him up on their marquee, but not his name. I think that's about the size.
But I want to tell you. Folks, if you see this film clip without a little bit of explanation, you really will be in a lot of trouble. So let me explain.
Fine.
This is the producer's a story about a producer and an accountant, and they devise a scheme. And their scheme is to produce a flop. It's a very simple scheme. They will raise more money than they need. Instead of raising $65,000 to put on their play, they will raise $1 million. But the play will be a flop. It will close in one night. They'll take the $1 million and go to Rio. So they're looking for the worst play in the world. It's got to be a flop. It must close. So they do a play about Hitler, knowing that the first night in New York, watch that we're looking at, closed. And so this is the production number from their giant flop, Springtime for Hitler.
Dance number of some kind?
Right. Frank Buck.
Some fruit just fell off the tree, folks. You're not throwing it at us, I promise.
He's the only guy that likes it.
Funny. Oh, that's funny. That is very, very funny, and typically you. I hope we can find it backstage. I had it backstage. It's a letter, a reproduction of a letter, I should say, from Peter Sellers, certainly one of the funniest men on earth, and more importantly in this context, one of the men who knows most about humor. And Peter gives this particular picture the highest possible praise. I don't hear little footsteps approaching, so perhaps they haven't found it back there yet.
You know, that was completely unsolicited. We didn't, you know, Peter, the story is that Peter had asked for a movie to come over, and he didn't expect Springtime for Hitler, you know.
Well, if he says it's funny and I say it's funny, what do you know?
You bet your boots, right.
We'll be right back.